What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Speakeasy Studios presents the podcast. I am your host, Eli Betker. With me, as always, is my best friend and bassist, Travis McGowan. How you doing, Travis?
Really spectacular.
That's good. That's good. To before I introduce our guests, to give you guys a little bit of backstory on Travis's super chipper tone. We every week that we've done this podcast, there has been a different technical difficulty that we have had to overcome, and it's the same with everything. Anytime that you are in a studio, anytime that you have a microphone in your hand or a drum set in front of you or whatever, you can bet that something is going to give you some issues.
I make friends with them every time I touch them, so you know.
So we went through a little bit of some technical difficulties. I have said welcome everybody to Speakeasy Studio presents the podcast like 6 different times now, but I think we got it up and rolling, and this feels like the money take. What do you think?
I do believe so.
Yeah, this is the money take, bro. This is going to be the one. This is going to be the one for the ages. And watch, dude, it's going to go. We're going to get podcast of the year off of this episode alone. I guarantee it.
Platinum.
It's going to be double platinum, diamond, poopy poop poop brown. That's how good it's going to go. So our guest today, who I'm very excited to bring on, because 1, I know that he's probably never done anything like this. 2, he is in the medical field, in the firefighter community service field. He is a wildland firefighter and an EMT. And 3, he is my cousin. My mom and his mom are sisters. So we have thousands and thousands of stories about being born and raised up in the desert, and we've gotten into some trouble together. We've gotten out of some trouble together, which that is definitely one of the stories that I'm going to tell. I think you know which one I'm talking about. So welcome, Josh. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course, man. We're super stoked to have you on.
Stoked to be here.
Good. So Josh, as I had mentioned before we get too far into the backstory of your career and things like that, I kind of just want to give people a little bit of a backstory on you.
Yeah, go for it.
So what was it? You were born in Riverside, spent the first year of your life in Beaumont.
Max.
Yeah, and then you moved up to Joshua Tree. So really, since under the age of 1, you've been out in Joshua Tree.
Yes.
That's
raised.
Yeah. So you're like one of the few like true desert rats that we have. You and Travis, right?
We're both lizard people.
Yeah, that's right. Desert rats.
Yeah.
Same. I was born down the hill, also compared to a lizard as a child.
Yeah, that's super funny. I didn't know that because we say that Travis is our pet lizard in the band. Travis is always like, yeah, he's our pet lizard. He's a chameleon or a gecko, whichever one you think is more adorable. That's what Travis is.
I feel like a newt or a salamander. I don't like the sun, so I mean, like one of.
That's fair. That's fair. I could see that too, but you also don't like the water.
Oh.
Got him.
He's a California legless lizard.
Yeah, a California legless lizard.
I was just called Legolas, so I'm happy.
So then, born in, and not born, you were born in Riverside. One thing that we were talking about before this take of the podcast, because it was on one of our takes of the intro, you were actually, like the first year of your life you spent in Beaumont, which is where I'm from originally. I spent the first 10 years of my life in Beaumont. And I always forget, because I believe at the time my parents were in Cherry Valley and your parents were in Beaumont, right? If I'm not mistaken. You're a little older than I am, so.
Yeah, Banning, but I mean, who's counting?
Yeah.
It's all the same area.
Yeah, for sure. So then I wonder if, because you know, like when we were growing up, like our moms and shit would just have coffee like every other day.
It was like.
I wonder if it was the same while they were in Beaumont.
Yeah, good question. I don't
Honestly,
know.
neither one of us know, because you were under a year old and I wasn't even born yet.
I'm sure if it wasn't, going over to each other's houses, more or less going over to Grandpa's house because, with us
they were
being
in-
right there in Beaumont, I mean,
Yeah, they were in
we're like
Miraloma.
40 minutes from.
Yeah, at most.
So
So that's cool. So then, as you were growing up, again, I find it cool because so many people are now becoming interested in this area. It's like a tourist destination. It's like this whole people want to know about Joshua Tree. And so I think that you provide a unique perspective as far as like being able to show people what it was like before it was discovered and kind of how it's changed since it's been discovered. So like I said, I'm super happy to have you on. I've mentioned it several times on the podcast. I've already said that you were like you're my roommate. Like I've referenced you several times on the podcast where I'll be like, oh, my cousin Josh and I actually live with them now. So is there anything as far as like when you were growing up, or as far as like before we dive too deep into the career and stuff like that, like was there anything about living in Joshua Tree that you think is drastically different for a kid who's now living in Joshua Tree or Yucca Valley or wherever? Like what is like a key difference that you think, the difference between when we were growing up and now, like when like Zoe's growing up right now out here. So it's like,
Yeah.
what do you think some of the differences are, if at all?
I think one of the biggest differences is the cultural diversity up here. I mean, and as we get into my upbringing later, I'll bring it up, but working at Big Five here in Yucca, I mean, talk to people from Russia, Scotland, Ireland, Europe, Australia, Brazil, Italy. So there's a lot more cultural diversity coming in, not only for the tourism, but also people who are trying to buy property or buy houses. And with that, it brings a lot of business because a lot of these people that come over, they want to open stores. They want to, shop here, like I can compare it to King of the Hammers. If you guys know, King of the Hammers is one of the biggest financial supporters of the town. I mean, you get, Hammertown gets upwards of 70, 80,000 people.
Yep,
and
for sure. And it's every year.
Every year
they do it.
Overpopulates Yucca Valley. So
why don't you explain a little bit of what King of the Hammers is for people who don't know?
So the best way I can describe it, and this is the way I've been told, is it's one of the world's largest off-road racing events. Has everything Can-Ams. I mean, I don't really know how to describe it, but like a lot of rock crawling, Jeeps, Can-Ams, music. This last year they had Pennywise on as one of their live bands. Dirt bikes. There's the Everyman Challenge. So the Everyman Challenge is, it's for anyone, but a lot of locals. I mean, they have like minimum guidelines and standards where they have to have their vehicle to be able to compete. Right. But a lot of locals do it. So it supports the local community and also grows it financially as well.
If I'm not mistaken, for those of you guys that might have I don't know, for those of you guys that are big Hunter S. Thompson fans, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, the race that he was going out there to cover, I believe was an extension of King of the Hammers. No. If I'm not mistaken, I might be wrong.
So
I might be making that up.
Sounds about right.
But it's the largest,
the right area and kind of like time frame for people to be in there like bugs. Yeah.
Exactly.
So King of the Hammers is I forgot the exact name of it, but I know it's brought, there's a lot of different what do you call I can't think of the word. Sponsors,
right.
It's I think it's primarily 4-wheel parts.
Yep.
But there's multiple races. It's not just King of the Hammers.
Right.
There's there's a race down in Brazil that they do. There's a race multiple races on the East Coast. So King of the Hammers is just part of this giant racing competition.
Gotcha. Yeah, Trav's family is very big into King of the Hammers, correct?
Yeah, my dad runs the recovery program out there, so he's the guy that winches people out and
hell yeah.
figures out who to put on hills and stuff.
There you go.
That's dope. That's dope. Okay, so then stepping outside of the King of the Hammer stuff and things like
Sorry,
that.
a little bit of a tangent.
No, it's cool. That's exactly what we're here to do, man. We're here to talk. So no, it's totally fine. So again, you were out here, and your family moved up here before my family did.
Yes.
Actually, your family was one of the driving factors as to why my family moved out here.
First and only, yeah.
Yeah, you guys were the first ones up here, and then it was Aunt Kim, right? Which is our other aunt.
Yeah, so it was us, then Aunt Kim, and then I think your parents and then our Aunt Karen came out about the same time, maybe a year.
I think Aunt Karen
difference.
was.
I think she was out here.
Maybe like a month or two first.
Yeah,
Maybe we were first. I really don't remember.
I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
It was like within that same year, though.
Yeah, I've gone over in other episodes too, like a little bit of the family history as to like the reason why my family moved out here was because we had family out here.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll obviously get more in depth into that as the episode goes on. But as far as like the introductory statement to you, so you had already mentioned your dad was a firefighter as well.
Yes.
So family business. Quote unquote.
Yeah.
And also I can attest to Josh has wanted to be a firefighter for his whole life. He like literally from the time that as early as I can remember, my earliest memories with Josh.
As early as I can remember.
Yeah.
Has an arsonist wronged your bloodline?
Has an arsonist wronged my bloodline?
Yeah, like did
Why
like
are you firefighters?
Actually, my dad and I are the other than Jeff, who kind of went on different, same
but different. Yeah. We'll get into that too. I talked about Jeff on the last episode with Adam, which is the one that you need to listen to.
So my dad and I are the only I can't even say active. The only active.
He's retired now.
He retired in November.
So he killed the arsonist that wronged.
That's right.
Yeah. No, Josh's dad is basically a firefighting superhero. And so for those of you that don't know, Josh's dad was struck by an arsonist as a young child. And it just decided from that day on that no fires would be happening under his watch. None of this is true. I'm being satirical right now. But no, so Josh's dad is a firefighter or was a firefighter. He just retired in November, so congratulations. We should give a little shout out to your dad.
Love you, Dad.
Yeah. Congratulations to Uncle Richard for retiring. And, him and I had a conversation about it where I was just like, if there's one thing I can say, it's that you've earned retirement. Like your dad has just, he's worked his ass off.
I don't care who you are. If you can put your mind and your body through something so strict and outrageous,
It's rigorous, like
very,
physically
very,
and mentally.
very.
Yeah.
I mean, I think honestly, I think it's 10% physical, 20% physical, and the rest is
You can't like condition
mental.
for that mentally. Yeah, you can physically train yourself like
as-
super hard.
as a new firefighter coming up. Yeah, absolutely. But that's why we train. So
Yeah, seriously.
we can get into the mindset all day long. But you also got to keep your physical performance up too. I mean, it's mostly mental, but I mean, if you can't do it physically, you're not going to make it mentally.
Oh, that makes total sense.
And that's one thing that I noticed too growing up. Is that mentally, Josh's dad, my Uncle Richard, he's very strong mentally. To be away from your family, it's a lot to ask of a person, and now you're actually getting that now. And us living together, I get to kind of see you learn how to navigate this, being away from your family and missing out on things throughout the days of the week,
I think,
and then just kind of coming back.
Miss like 90% of your guys' stuff, just, and that's not even fires or staffing or anything. That's just I'm at work for the next 3 days.
Right. Right.
So.
Now, with all these technical difficulties that we've had, I am jonesing for a cigarette. So I actually think that this is the perfect spot to kind of throw in a little, we'll end the intro segment here, and then once I finish with the cigarette, I'll come back in and we'll pick right back in, and we'll get to all the meat and the potatoes of who you are as a person and what led you to be in front of us today. So,
Yeah, go for it. Enjoy
yep.
it.
Any closing thoughts for the intro, Trev?
That is all.
All right, cool. We will get back at you guys on the next video, and it will be the full episode.